Well, you have talked about that you got hired like over so many candidates. So would you please answer a few questions here that I'm about to ask you?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
On the day of your interview, how did
Mhm.
he dress?
Well, I happen to believe that it's very important to overdress instead of underdress. It doesn't matter that you go on it. It doesn't matter that whether you dress up for the interview or even when after you get a job. It's also important that you dress really well. So my thing is, it's better to overdress than to underdress. So even if, like, let's say you go to work and it's Friday is a casual Friday, so everybody really dressed down in jeans and flip flop or whatever not. So should you follow the trend and dress down just like everybody? I would say that I would advise you against that. I would say that you would still dress down, but still more dressed up than other people in your company. Because it's important is that you place yourself as a, clothes makes the man. And what does that mean? That means that people form a perception about you as a person through the way you look. So very, very important. When you go on the interview, you gotta dress up, dress to the nine, right? And and that translates to when you go to work, you always gotta dress up really nice. So when time for let's say they're looking for a management position, who they're gonna look for? Is it gonna be the it's gonna be five candidates. They all pretty much the same. But they noticed that Richard Tan and Tran, you, or is the guy who always looked like management material because of the way you dress, and they're gonna give you that job. And that's just my theory, but I think that's true. It is true.
Thank you, sir. And were you confident on that interview for that day? Like, how confident were you?
Well, you have to be confident. You have to convince. You are applying for a job. It is important to convince these people that you can do the job, and you have the aptitude for it. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be cocky about it. I happen to believe that you gotta project a confident front, but then also expect if you don't know something, tell them that you don't know, but also say that well I may not know that now, but I have a strong aptitude for learning, and you can teach me, and I will be good in doing whatever it is that you want me to do. So again, to summarize what I just said, basically it's important to appear that you're confident, but it doesn't mean that you can be cocky. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Confident, but not too confident.
And how honest should you be about your job history? Like, should you be honest, or should you be a little what? Not really honest to get that job. How honest should you be?
Yeah, that's actually the sensitive questions, right? Because who hasn't maybe embellished the resume a little bit?
Yeah.
And I think it's important to be um, honest, because if they ask you, oh, do you have, let's say, Adobe Photoshop skill, and if you say yes, I'm an expert, I got 5 years experience in that, and then when they hire you on a trial period, and they said, well, go do something with Photoshop, really creative, and then you don't know, and so that's gonna backfire on you, right? So I think it's important to be honest, but on the other hand, though, um, you you um, you can tweak it a little bit, but to make it more your resume, the same resume, I can write the same resume with the same experience that I have in maybe five different ways for five different kind of jobs that I'm applying to. So you got to make sure you can, the way you write the resume can be changed to project a certain to fit a certain criteria for a certain type of job that you're looking for.
And another question here is that should you mention your salary on the day of the interview if they said you were hired, or should you wait another day to talk to your manager or your boss about it?
No, it's important to, unless they pointedly after you ask what should my compensation is and things like that. Um, If you ask them point blank and they don't bring it up, then what they will probably tell you that we'll call you and contact you with all the detailed information to follow. And yeah, but I don't. It's important to lay all the cards on the table. So you want to ask about it, but whether you're gonna be the one bringing it up, unless you have to, unless they never mentioned they was gonna end the interview without talking about that, then you bring it up. But I think generally people want to talk about that a little bit, and you need to, gone on a day back in IT, Silicon, where people go to the job fair and demand, I want to get paid this much and I want to get this kind of treatment. Gone are those kind of days. The economy that we're in, this is not the economy for that type of behavior anymore. But I also believe it's important that you don't want to sign on to something that if you don't talk about that, then the HR department might feel like, well, they're gonna kind of shortchange you on that. You know what I mean? So if you want that 4 week vacation and still 2 week vacation in your contract, you better talk about that.
Well, thank you, sir, and it was